Hello, everyone. I'm really happy you're here. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. If you enjoy easy English, quiet stories, and simple life lessons, I hope you'll join us by subscribing. Now, let me ask you something. What are you waiting for? Don't answer right away. Just think about it for a moment. Maybe you are waiting for the right time. Maybe you are waiting to feel ready. Or maybe you are waiting because you are afraid. If that is true, you are not alone. I think almost everyone is waiting for something. Have you ever noticed that? We wait until Monday. We wait until next month. We wait until we have more money. We wait until we have more time. Sometimes, we even wait until we believe in ourselves. But let me ask you another question. What if that day never comes? A little boy once stood in front of an old door. He looked at it. He smiled. Then he looked down. "I'll come back tomorrow," he whispered. So he went home. The next day, he came back. He looked at the same door. He smiled again. "I'll come back tomorrow." The door stayed quiet. It did not become angry. It did not become sad. It simply waited. One more day passed. Then another. The little boy kept saying the same words. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. One morning, he stopped talking. He looked at the door for a long time. Then he asked himself, what am I really waiting for? Maybe. That is the same question we should ask ourselves today. Maybe. The boy was not really waiting for tomorrow. Maybe. He was waiting for a different feeling. Have you ever done that? Have you ever said, I'll start tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow feels safer. Tomorrow asks nothing from us. But today does. Today asks us to take one step. Just one. I think that is why today feels difficult. Not because today is harder. Because today is real. Tomorrow is only an idea. Today is where life happens. Can I tell you something interesting? I have never met anyone who said, I'm completely ready. Not one person. People start businesses while they are afraid. People become parents while they are afraid. People move to a new city while they are afraid. People learn English while they are afraid. Maybe being ready is not the beginning. Maybe beginning is what makes us ready. That sounds strange at first. But think about it. How did you learn to walk? Did you wait until you knew how? No. You learned by walking. How did you learn to speak? Did you wait until every word was perfect? No. You learned by speaking. Life has always worked that way. First, we begin. Then we understand. Sometimes we believe confidence comes first. But maybe confidence is a reward. Maybe it quietly follows the people who keep walking. Not because they are special. Not because they are fearless. Simply because they did not stop. Can I ask you one more question? What would happen? If you stopped waiting for the perfect day, what would happen? If today was enough, not to finish everything, not to change your whole life, just to begin, just one small step. Sometimes, one small step is the only thing a beautiful tomorrow is waiting for. Let me tell you a very small story. There were two people. Both wanted to climb a mountain. The first person looked at the top. It is too high, he said. I'll come back when I am stronger. So he went home. The second person looked at the same mountain. It is too high, she said. Then she smiled. So, I'll just walk to the first tree. That day, she did not reach the top. She only reached the first tree. The next day, she walked to the second tree, then the third, then the fourth. She never tried to climb the whole mountain. She only looked for the next tree. Maybe life is more like that mountain than we think. Sometimes we make tomorrow too big. We try to solve the whole year. We try to fix our whole life. We try to become a different person. That is a heavy thing to carry. What if you did not need to carry all of it? What if today only asked you to reach the first tree? Just the first tree. Nothing more. When you learn English, you do not need every word today. One word is enough. Tomorrow, another word. When you want to become healthier, you do not need to run 10 kilometers. Maybe a short walk is enough. When you want to read more, you do not need 10 books this month. Maybe one page is enough. We often fail because we make the first step too big. Then we become tired before we even begin. Nature is kinder than that. The sun only needs to rise. The river only needs to keep flowing. The bird only needs the next branch. Nothing in nature tries to finish everything today. Maybe we do not need to do that either. Can I ask you something? What is your first tree? Not your whole mountain. Just your first tree. Maybe you already know the answer. Maybe your heart whispered it the moment I asked. If it did, listen to it. Quiet answers are often honest answers. Can I tell you something I noticed? People rarely wait because they are lazy. Most people wait because they care. They care about doing well. They care about making the right choice. They care about what other people might think. Have you ever felt that way? I know I have. Sometimes we hold a pencil for a long time before we write the first word. Not because writing is hard, because the blank page feels important. Maybe life feels like that too. A new job can feel like a blank page. A new dream can feel like a blank page. Even learning English can feel like a blank page. We look at it. We think about it. We imagine every mistake before we even begin. But let me ask you something. Has a blank page ever written a story by itself? No. It waits. It quietly waits for one small word. Then another. Then another. Every book begins that way. One sentence. Every journey begins that way. One step. Every friendship begins that way. One hello. Maybe we make beginnings too complicated. Maybe beginnings have always been simple. We are the ones who make them heavy. So today, don't think about the whole book. Don't think about the whole journey. Don't think about speaking perfect English. Just write the first word. Just take the first step. Just say the first hello. Small beginnings often carry beautiful endings. We just cannot see them yet. Have you ever looked at a blank page for a long time? Maybe you wanted to write something. Maybe you knew what you wanted to say, but somehow you did not write the first word. That happens to many people. Not only with writing, it happens in life too. Sometimes we wait because we want everything to be perfect. We want the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect beginning. But perfection has a funny habit. It keeps moving. When we reach one goal, it shows us another. When we solve one problem, it gives us a new one. If we wait for perfection, we may spend our whole life waiting. The blank page is not asking for perfection. It is asking for honesty. Just one honest word. That is enough. Life is often the same. You do not need the perfect answer today. Maybe you only need an honest answer. I am afraid. That is honest. I don't know. That is honest. I want to try. That is honest too. Honest beginnings are stronger than perfect beginnings because honest beginnings can grow. Perfect beginnings usually stay inside our imagination. Can I ask you another question? What is one honest word you could say to yourself today? Maybe it is begin. Maybe it is try. Maybe it is enough. You do not need a long speech. Sometimes one honest word can change the direction of a whole day. And sometimes one changed day becomes the beginning of a changed life. Can I share another small story with you? A little girl wanted to read a very big book. She looked at the cover. Then she looked at the last page. There are too many pages, she said. So she closed the book. The next day, her grandfather sat beside her. He smiled. He opened the book. He did not turn to the middle. He did not turn to the last page. He simply pointed to the first sentence. Let's read this. Only one sentence. That day, they read one page. The next day, they read another. The book did not become smaller, but reading became easier. Maybe we do the same thing in life. We look at the whole book. We count all the pages. Then we become tired before we even begin. But life is not asking you to finish every page today. Life is only asking, what will you do with this page? This page? Not tomorrow's page. Not next year's page. Just this one. English is like that too. Sometimes people say, I want to speak English fluently. That is a beautiful dream. But dreams can feel very far away. What if today's dream was smaller? What if today's dream was one new word? One sentence? One story? That is enough. Small goals are not weak goals. They are clear goals. And clear goals are easier to follow. Can I ask you something? What page are you looking at today? Are you looking at the whole book? Or are you looking at the page in front of you? Maybe that one page deserves all of your attention. Because one page becomes two. 2 pages become 10. 10 pages become a finished book. Not all at once, one page at a time. The beautiful thing about small steps is that they never ask you to be amazing. They only ask you to come back tomorrow. And tomorrow you simply read one more page. Can I ask you one more question? When was the last time you were proud of yourself? Take a moment. You do not need a big answer. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was years ago. Or maybe you cannot remember. Many people think they should feel proud only after doing something amazing. I do not think that is true. What if you could be proud of one small promise you kept? Maybe you said, I'll read one page, and you did. Maybe you said, I'll study English for 10 minutes, and you did. Maybe you said, I'll go for a short walk, and you did. Those moments may look small, but they are quietly changing something inside you. Every time you keep a small promise, you begin to trust yourself a little more. And trust is a wonderful thing. When you trust yourself, you stop asking, can I do this? You begin asking, what should I try next? That is a very different question. Many people are waiting for confidence, but maybe confidence is waiting for them. Maybe confidence grows every time you keep one small promise. Think about a bridge. A bridge is not built in one day. One piece is added, then another, then another. One day, people walk across it without thinking. Self-confidence is built the same way. One promise, one action, one small victory, again and again. Can I ask you something? What is one promise you can keep today? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Make it small. Make it simple. Then keep it. Your future self may thank you for that one small promise. And one day, you may smile because you finally became someone you can trust. Can we think about something together? What if you had started 1 year ago? Not perfectly, just a little. Where would you be today? Maybe your English would be a little better. Maybe your confidence would be a little stronger. Maybe your life would look a little different. We can never know. But let me ask you another question. What if you start today? Where could you be 1 year from now? That question is much more interesting because that answer has not been written yet. You are still writing it. One choice at a time. One day at a time. Sometimes people say, I wish I had started earlier. Have you ever said that? I think most of us have. But have you ever heard someone say, I'm glad I never started? Probably not. That is interesting. People usually regret waiting. They rarely regret beginning. Even when the beginning was difficult. Even when they made mistakes. Because mistakes can teach us. Waiting teaches us very little. Can I ask you something? What is waiting teaching you today? And what could one small step teach you instead? Those are two very different teachers. One teaches excuses. The other teaches experience. Experience is rarely comfortable, but it is almost always valuable. That is why children learn so quickly. They are not afraid of looking silly. They fall. They laugh. They try again. Adults often do the opposite. We worry. We think. We wait. Maybe we have forgotten something children remember. Maybe learning has never been about being perfect. Maybe it has always been about being curious. So today, do not ask yourself, what if I fail? Try asking, what might I discover? Sometimes one new question changes more than one new answer. Can I tell you what I think? I do not think your future is built by one big decision. I think it is built by many small decisions that nobody else can see. No one sees the day you choose to study for 10 more minutes. No one sees the page you read before you go to bed. No one sees you listening to English when you feel tired. Those moments are quiet. But quiet moments are often the strongest moments. The world usually celebrates big success. Life usually changes because of small habits. That is why today matters. Not because today is special, because today becomes tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week, then next month. Then one day you look back. You smile. Not because everything was easy, but because you never stopped coming back. Can I ask you one last question before we continue? If you could do just one small thing today, what would it be? Do not choose the biggest thing. Choose the thing you know you can finish. Then finish it. Tomorrow, choose one more. That is how trust grows. That is how confidence grows. That is how change grows. Slowly. Quietly. One day at a time. Maybe this story is not really about waiting. Maybe it is about believing that one small step is enough. And maybe today is the perfect day to take it. Let me ask you another question. Why did you start learning English? Think about that for a moment. Everyone has a different reason. Some people want to travel. Some people want a better job. Some people want to watch movies without subtitles. Some people simply enjoy learning something new. And maybe some people are here because they want to change their life a little. No reason is too small. Every reason matters. But something interesting happens after we begin. The excitement slowly becomes routine. The first day feels exciting. The first week feels exciting. Then one day, it feels ordinary. Have you noticed that? You sit down. You open a book. You listen to another lesson. Nothing feels special. Sometimes you even wonder, am I getting better? That question can be dangerous because real growth is usually invisible. Think about a child. Can you see a child growing every day? No, you cannot. But 6 months later, everyone says, you've grown so much. Growth is quiet. English is quiet too. You do not wake up one morning speaking perfect English. You slowly understand one more sentence, then one more. One day you understand a joke. A few weeks later you understand a video. Months later you answer a question without translating. Those moments are small, but they are wonderful. The problem is this. Many people stop before those moments arrive. They leave too early. They think nothing is changing. But something is changing every single day. Even today. Right now, as you listen to this story, your ears are becoming a little more familiar with English. Your brain is making new connections. You may not notice them today, but they are there. That is why I hope you never say, nothing is happening. Because something is always happening, even when you cannot see it. A seed cannot see its roots. A tree cannot hear itself growing. The sunrise makes no noise. The best changes are often quiet. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember this. You do not need to see every change. You only need to keep showing up. Keep listening. Keep reading. Keep smiling when you understand one new sentence. Those little smiles matter more than you think. One day, you will hear English, and instead of thinking, this is difficult, you will quietly smile and say, I understand. That day will feel wonderful, not because it happened suddenly, because you came back again and again, even on the days when nothing felt different. That is how beautiful things grow. Imagine this. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning. Everything is exactly the same. Your room is the same. Your job is the same. Your school is the same. The weather is the same. Nothing around you has changed. But there is one small difference. You decide to keep one promise. Just one. Maybe you read one page. Maybe you learn one new English word. Maybe you take a short walk. Maybe you drink one more glass of water. It does not look important. In fact, no one notices. Your family does not notice. Your friends do not notice. The world does not notice. But you notice because you kept your promise. That feeling is very special. Not because the promise was big, because you trusted yourself. Can I tell you something? The relationship you have with yourself is one of the most important relationships in your life. Every time you keep a promise, that relationship becomes stronger. Every time you break a promise, that relationship becomes a little weaker. That does not mean you should feel guilty. It simply means you can begin again. That is the beautiful thing about tomorrow. Tomorrow is not only another day. Tomorrow is another chance. But remember something. Tomorrow only becomes better because of what you choose today. Today is quietly building tomorrow. Just like one brick builds a house. Just like one drop of rain fills a lake. Just like one word becomes a sentence. Small things love to work together. One small thing may not change your life, but many small things can. That is how habits grow. That is how confidence grows. That is how kindness grows. And maybe that is how happiness grows too. We often look for one big moment that changes everything. Life is usually much quieter than that. Life whispers. It says, keep going. Come back tomorrow. Try one more time. The voice is quiet. But if you listen carefully, it has been speaking to you for a long time. Maybe today you finally heard it. Maybe there is one more reason people stop. They look at someone else. Have you ever done that? You open your phone. You see someone speaking English very well. Someone gets a new job. Someone starts a new business. Someone travels around the world. Then you look at your own life. Suddenly, your small step does not feel important anymore. But can I ask you something? When did your journey become someone else's journey? Who decided that your path should look the same? Life is not a race with one finish line. It is a road with millions of different paths. Some people begin at 20. Some people begin at 40. Some people begin after retirement. Every path has a different view. Every path has a different lesson. Imagine two trees. One tree grows on a sunny hill. The other grows beside a quiet river. They do not receive the same sunlight. They do not receive the same rain. They do not receive the same wind. So why should they grow at the same speed? Maybe people are like that too. Some people receive more help. Some people receive more chances. Some people have to begin again many times. That does not make anyone better. It only makes every story different. The only person you need to compare yourself with is the person you were yesterday. Did you learn one new word today? Did you become a little kinder today? Did you take one small step today? If the answer is yes, then smile. Because that is real progress. Real progress is often quiet. It does not ask for attention. It does not need applause. It simply keeps growing. Think about the moon. Some nights it is full. Some nights you can only see a small part of it. But the moon is always there. Your progress is like that. Some days you see it clearly. Some days you do not. That does not mean it disappeared. It simply means you cannot see the whole picture yet. So the next time you see someone moving faster than you, do not become discouraged. Instead, quietly say, I hope they keep going. Then say something even more important. I will keep going too. There is enough room in this world for all of us to grow. Your story does not become smaller because someone else's story becomes bigger. There is room for both. So keep walking, keep learning, keep smiling, and let your journey be your own. Can I ask you one more question? What was your last mistake? Maybe it happened this morning. Maybe it happened years ago. Maybe you still think about it. Many people remember their mistakes for a very long time, sometimes longer than they remember their successes. Isn't that interesting? Our minds are very good at saving painful memories. Maybe they are trying to protect us. Maybe they do not want us to get hurt again. But sometimes they become a little too careful. They tell us, do not try. You might fail again. You might feel embarrassed again. So we become quieter. We stop raising our hand. We stop asking questions. We stop trying new things. Little by little, our world becomes smaller. But let me ask you something. What if mistakes are not telling you to stop? What if they are trying to teach you something? Think about a baby learning to walk. No one counts how many times the baby falls. No one says, maybe walking is not for you. Everyone smiles. Everyone waits. Everyone believes. Because falling is expected. It is part of learning. So why do we expect adults to learn without making mistakes? Why do we expect ourselves to be perfect the first time? Maybe we are asking for something that no one has ever done. Learning English is a wonderful example. The first sentence feels strange. The first conversation feels uncomfortable. The first mistake feels big. Then something changes. You make another mistake, then another. And one day, mistakes stop feeling scary. They simply become part of learning. That is a beautiful day. Not because you stopped making mistakes, because you stopped being afraid of them. There is a quiet kind of freedom in that. The freedom to try. The freedom to laugh. The freedom to begin again. Maybe confidence is not believing that you will never fail. Maybe confidence is believing that you will be okay even if you do. That is a very different kind of confidence. And I think it is a much stronger one. So the next time you make a mistake, do not ask, "Why did this happen?" Try asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Sometimes one question changes the meaning of the whole experience. And sometimes one mistake becomes the first page of a beautiful story. Can you imagine something with me? Imagine yourself 1 year from today. Close your eyes for a moment if you want. Where are you? What are you doing? Can you hear yourself speaking a little more English? Can you see yourself smiling a little more often? Maybe your life is not completely different. Maybe your house is the same. Maybe your job is the same. Maybe your daily routine is almost the same. But maybe you are different. Maybe you are a little calmer. Maybe you worry a little less. Maybe you believe in yourself a little more. Sometimes we think change must be loud. But the best changes are often very quiet. You do not hear the sunrise. You do not hear a flower bloom. You do not hear a tree grow. But every day they become something new. People are like that too. We become someone new one ordinary day at a time. That is why ordinary days are so important. An ordinary Tuesday matters. An ordinary Wednesday matters. A quiet Sunday afternoon matters. Because those ordinary days quietly become your life. Maybe today does not feel important. Maybe today feels small. Maybe today feels exactly like yesterday. That is okay. Many beautiful lives are built on ordinary days. Not every day needs to be exciting. Not every day needs to be unforgettable. Some days only need one honest step, one kind word, one new sentence, one small smile. That is enough. Can I tell you what I hope? I hope you keep learning English. Not because you have to, because one day it may open a door you cannot see today. I hope you keep reading. I hope you keep asking questions. I hope you keep believing that small steps matter. Most of all, I hope you become kinder to yourself. You do not have to become a different person tomorrow. You only need to become a slightly better version of yourself today. Then tomorrow, you can do the same thing again. And one day, without even noticing it, you may become the person you have been hoping to become all along. Before we finish today's story, I want to ask you one final question. What will you do after this video ends? Not tomorrow. Not next week. A few minutes from now. Will you learn one new English word? Will you read one page? Will you take a short walk? Will you write one sentence? It does not matter what you choose. What matters is that you choose something. Because this story was never meant to stay inside this video. It was meant to walk home with you. Maybe tomorrow you will forget some of my words. That is okay. I hope you remember one feeling. The feeling that one small step is enough. You do not need to change your whole life today. You do not need to become fearless today. You do not need to know everything today. Today only asks for one honest step. That is all. If tomorrow feels difficult, come back. If next week feels difficult, come back. If next month feels difficult, come back. There is no shame in beginning again. There is quiet strength in returning. That is how books are finished. One page at a time. That is how gardens grow. One day at a time. That is how English is learned. One lesson at a time. And maybe, that is how a beautiful life is built. One small step at a time. Before we say goodbye, I want you to remember something. You are not late. You are not too old. You are not too slow. You are simply on your own path. Walk it with patience. Walk it with kindness. Walk it with hope. One day you will look back. You will see many small steps. At the time, they did not seem important, but together they became your story. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing that small steps matter. Until next time, take good care of yourself. And if you can, take one small step today. I'll be here when you come back. See you in the next story.